Hey everyone, and welcome to today's video where we are painting an orange lily flower. This is actually one of my favorite flowers and I love it so much. And if you want, you can even make it a tiger lily and put some spots on there, but I left it plain. But yeah, so I'll just kind of be going over like how to mix the colors and like the whole process and like step by step that I did. So I'll take you over to my desk and we'll get started. Yeah, let's go. Okay, so starting off with all of our colors, we have titanium white, a primary yellow, yellow ochre, a red, green, blue, and a burnt umber. And so for this flower, we're going to be starting with our first shade, which is going to be our light orange. So you can take some white, some yellow, yellow ochre, and a little bit of red, and mix that up together, and then you'll have our first shade. The brush that I'm using is a like kind of medium size round brush, and these are just from like variety packs, so any brush that you have, really like nothing crazy or fancy. And then the panel that I'm using is a 5x7 from Artist Loft, and those are super nice. They're really affordable. You can get them from Michael's. You can put them in a frame. They're just like super, just like easy and fun to do. So I already have drawn out this picture of a lily. You could screenshot the photo from the intro of the final piece and then just kind of like copy that, or you could draw your own lily or use a reference photo, whatever you choose. But I'm starting out with the drawing, and then also if you want to like just kind of erase, like lightly erase your drawing so it's not like too dark, and then this way like your paints cover a lot better. So what I'm doing here is I'm mixing up 3 shades. So on the left I'll do a lighter shade, and then on the right I'm doing a darker shade, and the way that you get that darker shade is you just add more red and more green. And by doing that, you create like a brown that mixes into the orange, and it makes it like really rich and like a deeper tone, and I just think it's like completely stunning, and it's a lot better to mix with primary colors. If you're not getting like the color correct on that, then you could also opt for adding some brown to it. That'll work just as well. So here on the left, I'm doing my light orange. So I took some of that color that I mixed up in the middle first, and then added some more yellow and some more white to it. And then I got a nice, like almost yellowy orange kind of shade. And then here, we're going to be mixing up color for our stem and petals. So I'm doing kind of the same process where I just like drop down some green, and then on the left side, I'm mixing up with some white and some yellow, and then on the right side, I had green, some burnt umber, and a little bit of blue, and I'm creating my dark green. So pretty simple palette here, but it looks so stunning together. I love mixing my paints beforehand because you see how they all look together before they're actually on the canvas. It just looks so good, and you can just like see like how your colors are gonna like mesh. So yeah, so we're gonna move on to the painting portion now, and that is the petals. So just dipping into my medium orange and filling in my petals here. We're gonna be kind of doing the same process all throughout the painting, which I'll explain. Basically, I'm starting with our mid-tone and filling in the like main color of the flower, and then I'm gonna go in with highlights and with like shadows or like our deeper color, and we're just gonna be adding highlights where the petal is curving and closer to us, and then adding our deeper orange where the flower is a little bit farther away. So like right here in that curved portion, you will add some like lighter orange, and then you can even add some white, as I'm doing here, to even like brighten it up more. So if it's not like quite as light as you're looking for, you can brighten it up with some white. And then going in with some of our deeper orange towards the center of the flower, where you can kind of see like the light isn't hitting it as much, so it's going to be a little bit darker in that section. And then you can also, on this petal, like leave some space. Basically I filled in the orange in like all the main spaces except for where the highlight's going, so that it like stands out a little bit more, which is a good technique to use as well. So you can try both and see which one you like better, and just kind of use that for your flower. So I'm just going to go through and paint all of the petals, and we're pretty much just going to use this method the whole way through. So it's a pretty simple like pattern. The other detail that I want to mention is when the petals are overlapping, you'll add a little bit of that like dark color like right under the petal that is overlapping it. So yeah, that is pretty much it for like these first 3 petals that we've done. And then later in the painting we'll go through like the stem and the leaves and the little like center part of the flower, I think, like the little like brown anthers, and I'll even mix up that color too. I didn't mix it up in the beginning, but I'll mix it up later in the video, so you'll be able to see that. And this petal here is a little bit darker, so I'm going in a little bit more of that deeper shade, because there's a little bit more in shadow, and then getting lighter as we get towards the end. And then at the very bottom of the petal, the very like outermost part is going to be a little bit darker as well, and then we're going to brighten up the curve that's being highlighted, and that really gives it that the form and the 3-dimensional shape that we're looking for with this flower. So I'm blending mine to be smooth, and the way that you do that is you kind of go back and forth between colors, so it's not just, you know, step 1 lay down your middle tone, step 2, you know what I mean, your dark tone, step 3 light tone. You kind of have to bounce back and forth between colors and layer up and kind of like finesse almost. But yeah, basically you would just keep going, like alternating colors in the same brush, and you'll get that like really smooth blend. If you wanted more of like a textured blend, you could achieve that as well, and you would just basically like apply a ton of paint to the brush and like layer it on, but instead of like brushing it, it would be more of like a placing the paint on and like dragging it across instead of like smoothing it out. And then you could also wait for layers to dry and then build up on top of that if you want like a really nice textured look, or like a streaky look, you could do that as well. But yeah, for this it's going to be pretty smooth. And then I mentioned it in the intro, but you could also add like little spots to this to make it a tiger lily, which I think would be so cute. But yeah, I also feel like this is a pretty simple painting once you get like the basic concept of it. And I think it'd be so cute for like a gift, or really like any sort of like office space or home space. This is like a small painting, but you could so easily paint this on a larger scale. It's really fun to paint, and you don't need a ton of colors. Like, as you can see, in almost all of my paintings, I always use the same starting point, which is just like white, yellow, red, and blue. You can add a yellow ochre, which I recommend. I think it really helps. And you could also add a green, which helps as well. But really you only need white, red, yellow, and green to really make any color palette. So, and I like to show you guys how to mix colors, because I think it's just like really important. Because yeah, you won't always have every single color, and then this way you don't have to buy colors at the store, you can just make them. So for this curve here, because it's like bent over, I'm doing my deepest shade under, and then my lightest shade over on the top, yeah, as you can see. Okay, so now we're going to be going into the green, and I'm just going to be starting with my darkest green color. I'm going to be filling in the stem. And I've got a few brushes going here, just so I don't have to keep washing them off. But if you only have one brush, then you can just rinse it in between. And then for this like stem and petals, we're going to be doing the exact same method, which is going to be filling in with our deep shade, and then we're going to be highlighting with our lighter shade. which is very similar to how we did the petals, and we're just kind of creating value that way. And you can see that I'm just using the same brush and dipping into both colors, and then it makes it very simple to kind of blend them together. So this technique of using the same brushes works really well when you're using, different shades of the same color. But I would just be careful if you're using different colors, because then they can get like really muddy and brown, or you could end up with a totally different color. So yeah, just be careful if you're using different colors. But if you're using the same color but just different shades, it works really, really well. So this painting is the third in my kind of like rainbow flowery series. I've done a sunflower and a tulip so far, and this is our orange lily. And then next up I have a blue daisy, so stay tuned for that one, but I'm so excited to show it to you guys. And these are just like really fun beginner level tutorials. Anyone can do this, and I hope you really enjoy it, and I hope you try it, and if you do, like, tag me, I'd love to see it. But yeah, we're almost done with these leaves, and then next we're going to be going into the center part of the flowers, which are like those like brown, like almost stem looking things, and those are pretty easy as well. And I'll mix up the colors, and we'll do that shortly. Okay, so now we're going to be going into the center of the flower and just adding a little bit of our deep orange color, and we're just darkening that center, making it look like it's a little bit deeper into the flower. Okay, so next up we're going to be making our brown. So I'm just taking this small round brush, and I'm taking some burnt umber along with the orange that was already on my brush, mixing that up. So basically just the brown and some of the deep orange color, and then we're just going to be doing straight lines all the way to the center of the flower, and then just a small line across the top. So pretty simple shape here, and then all we're going to do is add a little bit of detail to the top part of these stems, and we'll be done. So it'll be super, super quick. Oh, and I make them go in like different directions, because if you look at the lily flowers, they're not all going in the same direction, and then making some shorter and overlapping so that it just looks like they're more like random and kind of like sporadic. So now I'm going to go into the orange color here, and I'm just doing a little bit of touch-up work, adding a little bit of a fold into that flower petal on the right. I'm going to rinse off this brush, and I'm going to go into our light yellow, highlight this fold on the petal here, add some more highlights, do a little bit of touch-up work before we finish off with our little anthers. And now with our tiny detail brush, we're just going to lightly stamp on a few dots in our lightest orange color. So here I'm just adding a little bit more of our deep orange, just to kind of like really push those values. I lightened up some of the lightest parts and I'm darkening some of the darkest points, and that just really helps the flower pop and add a lot of depth. So if you're looking at your flower and you want to add more depth, go ahead and just add that in. Okay, and that completes this video. Thank you so much for watching our orange lily flower. This is a part of my little like colorful rainbow flower series, and I had so much fun painting it. I hope you really enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you in my next one. Bye guys.